I can't offer you a quick fix. What I can offer you is to understand and use your body in a way that's really going to sustain you, so that when you leave the office here, that it's going to the work's going to keep going on, and that's variable. Some people get it right away. It's a learning process. Some people get it in a few sessions. Sometimes it takes longer, depending on the chronicity of the problem, how long you've had it. So my goal is to have you be able to feel and sense your body, and feel and sense the changes in your body, and how it moves differently, and how it moves in the most efficient way possible. And so when that learning sticks, when you really just get it, when you know you've learned a new skill, well, it's that same click goes on in your nervous system, where it's really integrated. You've really learned something new, whether it's physical or emotion. It's really a learning process, and the process of you getting in touch with yourself and feeling and perceiving the changes within yourself is what's going to allow you to, not need me in the future, to sustain the adjustment. So rather than it be just a temporary fix that's just, where you need to keep coming back and back and back, this is kind of empowering you to really, become aware of, how you're using yourself. And it's a really felt experience as you really perceive yourself. And again, it can take some time, but that's what will lead to permanent, sustained change.
I just don't feel as good in my body lately. And when I don't feel as good in my body, I don't feel as good overall. Just in my life, like I tend to, when something comes up, I tend to intellectualize things or just like overthink it, overanalyze it, and when I'm more in my body, I just feel like I'm more at peace with whatever's coming my way, and I can, tackle it and calm. I don't feel like this tension, like, oh no, what am I gonna do? And I have to figure things out. So I don't feel as much that way. Like lately, I've been feeling like I need to figure things out, and I feel, and also like my body just doesn't feel fluid. Like I feel strong and all that, but just it's on the inside.
Right.
It just doesn't feel like it's flowing as well,
Right.
and it affects how I feel about myself. It affects my life. It affects how I go about things, and so I want to feel that again.
Yeah. I think you did say something like that in your feedback to me, that you felt more, like you're saying, overall, like emotionally and physically. It wasn't just a physical improvement, but I think emotionally and mentally
Right.
you noticed changes, right, from all
Yeah.
work together, right?
I definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the cranial work had an impact as well, right? And I think you were surprised, right, by that you didn't expect to make those kind of connections in as well as physically, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like I felt it, because I've been, kind of a physical person, and I actually, as my work as a therapist, can work with people emotionally, but, having the two connect and having, really feeling the connection between, like, when I feel good in my body, I feel better, just as a person, like relating to others and how I go about my life and how I handle situations, make decisions, respond, to just general life challenges. So yeah, I just feel a little like, I feel that tension that comes on, like kind of, I get willful, it's just like, oh, I got to figure things out. I got to and just instead of the allowing life to come and reacting to life in a more organic way for me, so I'm forcing things.
You're forcing things. So I think what you said before to me is that you felt this interconnectedness, which translated into an outer doing. Like you are a doer. You like to do a lot of stuff, but it became more effortless, right? To do stuff. Your workouts became easier. You noticed I think your emotional well-being improved, right? And so, right, that connection between all of you, the mind, body, spirit, the whole of yourself became more integrated. And so I think that's what you're, that's what you're missing. You're missing that, right?
Yeah.
It sounds like.
Yeah.
And it's just like anything. We can't just because we eat breakfast forget about eating lunch and dinner. Or not eating the next couple of days, or if we brush our teeth today, that's it for a week. I think this is the kind of thing you periodically want to come back to. To tune yourself, to refine your movements, so you can, rediscover that connection. I lose it too, in our fast-paced world with technology and computers and so much information coming at us, it's so easy to lose that inner connection that you're speaking about. So it's just, I think it's important to do it on a regular basis, at some frequency. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, absolutely, definitely.
Yeah.
That's what I feel you said, like, to retune. I feel like I'm out of tune. Not all the time and not every day consistently, but just in general, I just don't feel like as in tune with myself.
Right.
And it can happen so, you can kind of I get off, off course or off track, and then, and then I get to the point where I say, oh, I miss the feeling of feeling more connected to myself and calmer. So
I'm just feeding back what you're saying, that feeling of feeling connected to yourself is so important, I think, to connecting to others, to connecting to your work, connecting to your significant other. I think if we don't have that connection within, how could it not be, okay in other avenues? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think one thing you're also saying that's worth restating is just because, it's not like you have to be in terrible pain to want that. I think you want to connect to that so that you don't get in pain. If once you're in pain, it's almost too late. Then we have to do all this remedial work. It's sort of like waiting for your car to completely fall apart. So it seems like you're coming now at the right time, and you're just sensing something's awry, and you're wanting to, change that. So that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Yeah.
Great. Let's just get started,
Okay.
Well, I want to briefly just talk about Feldenkrais. Feldenkrais is a way of observing our habits and discovering where we unconsciously interfere with ourselves, unknowingly, which basically lead to limitation and eventually even pain. So, Beth, I think you want to say explicitly what's going on with you?
I have tennis elbow, and it's from overuse. So, I think I did it initially lifting weights in exercise, but now it just keeps getting re-injured using a mouse, the keyboard.
Right. You work at the computer a good amount of time.
I can feel it, if I am holding a glass for long periods of time.
Oh, okay.
Sleeping, just brushing my teeth, using a hairdryer.
Oh, so it's really...
so it really gets in the way of doing a lot of things in my life.
Okay, and how long has it been going on?
2 months.
Oh, so it's been a while.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the way I want to work today with Beth, and I've done this before with you, is to use the Feldenkrais method, which is to see where are you using yourself maybe too much, unknowingly tensing certain muscles, and where are you not incorporating movement in your body. Okay, so we want to basically spread the workout throughout yourself. So I'm going to just move you a little bit. Why don't you sit forward in your chair a little bit?
Like at the end, or
just at the edge.
Okay.
Yeah,
that
looks fine.
Okay.
And I'm just going to put my hands on your shoulder. I'm just going to see how your shoulder responds, because even though I'm doing this sort of micro movement, I'm sensing how readily the shoulder moves, right? And I know you're an athlete, a highly conditioned athlete, so there's some muscle overlay, but I just want to see how you're moving. So now I'm going to just come around to the other side and just do the same thing. And actually right away, I don't know if you can feel it. See how Beth's shoulder comes forward pretty well. See the shoulder blade? I can move it forward, and you can feel some movement in your shoulder girdle, right? And even going back, there's some movement. So these tiny movements are just indicative of how available the part is for movement. But again, to see if I come forward like this, it's not really moving, right? It's hardly moving much at all. Maybe backwards somewhat, right? But not forwards, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the elbow is related to the shoulder. It's not just a local injury, it's really a whole body, injury. So let's have you just move this knee forward. Just forward towards the wall.
So in other words, like that?
Yeah, but leave your foot, don't move your foot, so just let the knee and the hip,
ever so slightly.
go forward, right? And then go back. And do that again. And notice that you're turning, so let yourself turn. You can also let yourself look in the direction you're turning, so you can look a little to the left. And you can see that the shoulder's turning now, the whole body's turning, the spine is turning, all of you is turning. I'm just going to put my hands on different parts of yourself. Right? So if I put my hand on your pelvis, you can feel that the right side of your pelvis is coming forward relative to the left side. Right? Okay, good. Okay. And now let this right shoulder blade move forward. Can you just let this, so you see that's different than what I'm asking. That's you're turning your whole body. So see if you can just let the shoulder blade itself move forward.
Without moving my...
Without moving, so this, yeah, that's more like it. So now you just feel the shoulder blade slides, you feel it, good, great. And come back, and again, let the shoulder blade itself, that's it. So now you're moving the shoulder blade independent of the rest of you, right?
Yeah.
Great, that's a nice little learning. Okay, good. Just another time or two. Now actually let your left shoulder blade come back to my hand. Don't even worry about the right, just let the left shoulder blade come back. And automatically, see, the right side knows what to do. And you might even feel, as you move the left shoulder blade back, this right knee actually is coming slightly forward. Do you sense that?
Yeah.
So it's a whole system, right? I'm sorry, what?
Ever just slightly.
Ever so slightly, but everything is really working together. Yeah, I can feel it, I can see movement. You see how everything's moving together. Okay, good. And so now, again, look to the right and let your whole self, let this, knee and hip go forward. And now look at the plane of your eyes as you turn like that. Just notice if your eyes tend to drop off, like down towards the floor, or go up as you're turning. Just notice what you're doing. You see your chin is dropping slightly, so the eyes perhaps are also dropping off. See if you can leave the eyes on a horizontal trajectory. So you're, right, exactly. So you see that's changing the turning, actually. You feel that's turning you a little bit more. Okay, great. Now, also, let's do this. Now, each time you turn, I want you to leave your eyes facing forward, but turn everything else. Your head's going to turn, your shoulder, torso, without tensing up. So just reduce your effort. I know it's an unfamiliar movement.
And move my head, but not my eyes.
That's right. You're moving your eyes and head independently. Right. And most people, when they're faced with something new like this, they tend to work harder, try harder, and they tense muscles up. So see if you can just do it easily, reduce your effort. That's it. That's better. And again, keep your eyes. See if your eyes, track with your eyes. Are they moving across the room in a horizontal trajectory or not? Just.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm trying to keep them at the same, my focus at the same place.
Right, I know.
They're moving a little bit, but...
So see if the head can stay, again, like horizontal, moving there. See how your head is kind of in a upright position. It's not falling off itself.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Now come back. Now just turn everything, head, eyes, everything to the left. Your shoulder, your hip is going to come forward, this hip is going to come forward, and your head and eyes can look, wherever you can see. So your turning gets a little bit more fuller, right? A little more continuous. Now we'll do one more movement. Now leave your head and eyes in the middle as you turn everything else to the left. So, right, that's right. So you have to really pay attention, right, and go slowly and sense in yourself what's the demand, what's required of you to do the movement, and also not tense things up.
It's very unnatural right now.
What's that?
It's unnatural.
It is unnatural. Nobody would expect you to walk around, in your daily life doing this. But in this learning context, it's the only way to really learn a new means of movement, a new way of moving.
Keep doing it.
That's probably enough. And now let everything go together to the left. So you're going to turn your whole self, your whole body. Okay.
Keep going.
Yeah, and you can look, and again, let your eyes, stay on the horizon. Now, the reason this is also interesting that working sitting, because most people do sit at desks and computers all day, so it's a sedentary, we've become very sedentary, and we've neglected to really move ourselves. And people will get up and say, oh, I get up and walk around to go get a drink of water. But that's not changing how they use themselves in their actual sitting. So we're trying to tease apart different ways of sitting, because that's actually how you injure, somewhat how you injure yourself. Maybe also from lifting, but I believe also from the way, with the mouse and the computer and the sitting. Okay. Yeah. Now, I didn't really, touch this area before, but, I don't know, was this tender to the touch before, or was it tight? Just notice how it feels. How does the right arm feel as it's resting against yourself right now? How does the elbow feel? Notice how the shoulder girdle is. Just notice that do you feel a difference in how it's resting and lying?
Yeah.
Okay, so would you say...
Subtle.
It's subtle.
Feel it, yeah.
So it's a little more, perhaps relaxed. The muscles all through the shoulder girdle are a little more relaxed, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just going to come back to the shoulder girdle itself now. And now, as I just do this little tiny movement with your right shoulder blade, there's much more availability for movement, right? So before it was just one tense block, and now I can feel it moves in what we call a differentiated way. It can separate the shoulder blade, can separate away from the spine, right? So right away I know that these muscles now, the state of the tonus of these muscles has changed. They're not as tense and taut, right? And even maybe this right side of your neck is you feel this now? It feels a little softer. It's not so taut as it was previously. I mean, we're just doing a piece of a lesson. We're not doing a complete lesson, but perhaps you're sensing some changes in yourself that as we would work further, we could go through your whole body. But the point is, again, that unknowingly, this right side of you was getting kind of immobilized and not really moving, and so all your work was, like you said, overused. Like you were just using your hand, and these extensors of the forearm were being really overused, and the rest of you, the muscles in your torso and your back and your shoulder blade and the ribs and the pelvis weren't really being employed. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So that's the awareness we want to bring about, so that the body really wants to, prefers a more efficient way of moving. It doesn't want to move in a constrained way, but it has to be aware of where you're holding yourself, where you're tensing unnecessarily, that you're not even aware you're doing it, right? So that makes sense.
I think ever since I injured this, even in more relaxed states, I feel that I hold tension there.
Right. It does.
It starts all the way up here, so that must be like a place that I just naturally maybe hold tension in daily life activities.
Right. You're a righty.
Yep.
You're athletic. You like to do a lot of different things. But the point is, I think you're making, is that the muscle keeps working even when it doesn't, even when it's not required to work, right? And that constant work, that constant fatigue eventually causes pain and of course limitation, right? Yeah. So this is something we could, continue again, in different contexts, different, lying on the table, but to make you aware of where you're unnecessarily limiting yourself, inhibiting your movement, and where you could be moving more fully. Okay, does that make sense? Yeah. Why don't you just stand up and just stand for a second, and just sense, your weight through your right foot, and just see if the weight and how you're standing, if one foot feels different into the floor than the other, how you actually stand.
It feels balanced.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. It feels a little lighter on the right side.
It feels a little lighter on the right side. Yeah. Okay. And just notice how this shoulder is compared to the other. If one shoulder feels, perhaps, well, you tell me. I don't want to put words in there. Well, how would you describe the two shoulders?
This one feeling a little bit looser, this right, and this one feeling a little bit tighter.
Yeah. So perhaps even this one is down a little bit compared to the left. It's slightly hanging down the shoulder, right? Yeah. And the arm. You see how this arm actually lies? It's kind of just hanging, alongside you like this, and this arm's actually held out more to the side. So this arm, can you see that there's an actual difference in how the arms are? Yeah. So I think you understand what we're going. Just and walk around. Just notice as you walk. Just see how the arms swing, how the arms move. Just let yourself walk, but just let yourself move your arms as you walk, just the way you would normally walk.
Mm-hmm.
Just sense if one arm moves relative to the other. So again, this is subtle. You're right, and
Yeah.
these are small changes, but over time, this is the kind of learning that takes place, and it does take some time to sense these differences and feel them and incorporate
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Great.
Well, thanks.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.